Save money fast. How I saved $10,000 in 6 months. Saving money might sound like an overwhelming challenge, especially when expenses seem to pile up faster than your income grows. But with the right strategies, discipline, and mindset, it's possible to reach ambitious savings goals. I'm living proof of that. In just 6 months, I managed to save $10,000. And I didn't win the lottery, get a raise, or inherit a fortune. I simply changed how I handled my money. Here's how I did it, and how you can too. 1. The wake-up call and defining my goal. 6 months ago, I reached a financial crossroads. Despite earning a steady income, I had little to show in terms of savings. My bank balance was barely enough to cover an unexpected expense, and I realized that without a change, I would always be living paycheck to paycheck. I decided to set a concrete and ambitious goal to save $10,000 in 6 months. At first, it felt overwhelming, but breaking it down, it meant saving roughly $1,667 every month, or about $385 a week. Having this clear, measurable target was essential. I also attached a strong why to the goal, to build a solid emergency fund and prepare for a future move. This why was my anchor during moments of temptation when spending money impulsively felt easier than saving it. 2. Tracking every expense to understand spending habits. Before any saving could happen, I needed a detailed understanding of where my money was going. I started by tracking every single expense, from rent and utilities, down to coffee, snacks, and even that occasional impulse buy on Amazon. Using a combination of budgeting apps and a detailed spreadsheet, I logged each transaction diligently. This process was eye-opening. I discovered that daily habits, like buying a $5 latte or ordering takeout twice a week, were quietly draining hundreds from my monthly budget. Additionally, I was paying for multiple streaming platforms and subscriptions I barely used. Seeing the raw numbers was sometimes painful, but crucial because you can't fix what you don't know. This step helped me identify specific spending patterns to tackle. 3. Building an aggressive and realistic budget. Armed with detailed spending data, I designed a new budget focused on aggressively saving while still maintaining a reasonable quality of life. I allocated about 50% of my income to necessary living expenses, rent, groceries, bills, and aimed to direct at least 40% of my income straight to savings. The remaining 10% was my fun money to prevent burnout. This wasn't a budget based on deprivation, but on smart prioritization. For example, instead of cutting out all social activities, I chose low-cost or free alternatives. The budget was my daily guide, and I revisited it every week, making tweaks to stay aligned with my $10,000 goal. 4. Ruthlessly cutting unnecessary expenses. One of the hardest but most rewarding parts of the journey was cutting expenses that didn't add real value to my life. I canceled all but one streaming service, ditched pricey gym memberships in favor of home workouts, and replaced Uber rides with public transit or walking. Meal prepping became a weekly ritual. Instead of eating out or grabbing quick meals, I cooked everything at home, which saved me a surprising amount of money each month. I also sold items I no longer used, old clothes, gadgets, even some furniture, through online marketplaces. These cuts weren't about sacrificing happiness, but about choosing financial freedom over fleeting pleasures. The money I saved from these changes totaled several $100s monthly. 5. Finding ways to increase my income. Reducing expenses was critical, but I realized that to hit my ambitious savings goal, I needed to boost my income as well. I explored side hustles that fit my schedule and skills. I took on freelance writing gigs, which paid per article and helped me earn extra cash during evenings and weekends. I also tried paid website user testing and sold handmade crafts online. Additionally, I offered pet sitting and tutoring in my neighborhood. These side hustles brought in an additional $600 to $900 each month, which significantly accelerated my savings timeline. Increasing income was empowering because it showed me that saving isn't just about cutting costs, but also about creating opportunities. 6. Automating savings to build discipline. To ensure I stay consistent, I set up automatic transfers from my checking account to a high-yield savings account immediately after every paycheck. Automating savings helped me avoid the temptation to spend what I should be saving. I treated this transfer like a mandatory bill that had to be paid first. Pay yourself first became my mantra. This automation created a psychological barrier between my spending money and my savings, making it much easier to resist impulse purchases. Over time, I didn't even notice the money leaving my checking account because it was out of sight and out of mind. 7. Practicing mindful and intentional spending. Beyond budgeting and automation, I trained myself to be more mindful about spending decisions. Whenever I wanted to make a non-essential purchase, I imposed a 24-hour wait rule. This cooling-off period helped me avoid impulsive buys and often made me realize I didn't need the item. I also began valuing experiences over things. Instead of going to pricey bars or shopping sprees, I opted for free community events, hikes, or movie nights at home. These lifestyle shifts not only saved money but also increased my appreciation for the simple things, making the saving process feel less like a sacrifice and more like a lifestyle improvement. 8. Tracking progress and celebrating milestones. Staying motivated was easier when I tracked my progress and celebrated small wins. I didn't wait until the end of 6 months to reward myself. Each time I saved $1,667, I acknowledged it with a small budget-friendly treat. It could be a favorite homemade dessert or a day trip to a free museum. These little celebrations helped keep my spirits high and reinforce the positive habit of saving. Recognizing progress also made the big goal less intimidating, turning it into a series of achievable steps rather than one overwhelming mountain to climb. 9. Lessons learned beyond the numbers. Reaching the $10,000 savings goal was transformative in many ways. Beyond the obvious financial cushion, I learned how much I could live without and still be happy. Budgeting no longer felt restrictive, but empowering. I gained a deep understanding of my relationship with money and became more intentional about my financial decisions. Most importantly, I built confidence knowing that with discipline and planning, I could achieve even bigger goals in the future. This experience showed me that financial freedom is not about how much you earn, but how well you manage and prioritize what you have. Final thoughts. You can achieve this too. Saving $10,000 in 6 months might seem daunting, but it's possible with clear goals, discipline, and smart strategies. Start by tracking your spending to see where your money goes, cut back on non-essential expenses, find ways to boost your income, automate your savings, and practice mindful spending. Celebrate your progress regularly to stay motivated. If I were able to do it, starting from almost zero savings, anyone can. The key is commitment and persistence. Take control of your finances today and watch how quickly your savings grow. Let me know in the comments section below. What do you think of our video? If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button. Also, subscribe to our channel before you go. Thank you for watching.